What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Thank you for being here. A warm hello and my gratitude to you for spending a little bit of time here with me on this day. It's Saturday, March 1st, 2025. I am Big Cheds. Most of you know me from Twitter, of course, Big Cheds. I'm a chart nerd. And I am on YouTube at Cheds Trading, where I teach professional technical analysis, Japanese candlestick theory, and classical charting. I have published 3 books, and my 4th book is coming out really soon, within a couple of weeks. I am pumped. I'm amped. It's going to be very similar to this cover, a few more changes, but the trading journal is coming out really, really soon. Teaching you why to use a journal, how to fill it out, how to find trading setups, when they invalidate, emotional management, good trader habits. It's Trading Wisdom Part 2. And because I've got that book coming out, I'm making my 3rd book, Trading Quote, free, 100% free. So I'm going through and I'm reading each week, one at a time. There's 26 weeks, 52 weeks, sorry, 52 weeks. Going to be 26, 27 videos. So check that out. It's very heavy in trading psychology. My cancer memoir is completely free. I am a cancer survivor, and I was also a caregiver for my mother. I write about that experience. And of course, Trading Wisdom, which is really popular. I've got a 1/3 of that book here for free. All those books are available on Amazon and audiobook. And of course, I am a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live, the best in-class educational platform for cryptocurrency trading. I do a twice a week full market report every Wednesday, Sunday night. This is part of the quick market update. So I do, just a kind of casual stream. I like to interact with you folks. So I'd love to hear from you in the chat room today. How you're doing, how you're feeling. Make sure can you hear me and all that great. And try to think about like a really good trading question, something that other people who are watching might get value from, something that you're struggling with, and I'll try to answer your question. I may not answer it correctly. I'll do my best. So folks, thank you for being here. I see the chat room is filling up. I see people filling up. And so I'll get to you folks in a question in a moment, rather. I'll do a quick riff on the charts, and then I'll kind of go to the chat rooms. Bitcoin's at a really interesting spot. I think I was thinking about it. There's a little bit of clarity in the idea of saying, I don't know what's going to happen next. I was following the trend pretty closely after the expansion out of the prior range, 72 to 74K range, or peak of that range. And just it held support, every time it tested 90 to 91K area, it held support, and we had the kind of failed head and shoulders here. I was making fun of bears all the way until it broke down. So for me, losing major support was kind of a blow. It was a pretty big blow. And if you go back and watch, and these streams, by the way, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, if you watch my Tuesday stream, it was as we were breaking down. And I talked about needing to see, the price closing back up above 90K, make it into deviation, and it not holding that level. And so upon the initial break, you really start to orient yourself to think we're probably going to 72 to 74K. And then you have kind of the texture of the consolidation along the way. We have this drop right into the daily MA200. And normally in a strong trend, you're going to find a bounce off of that area. The issue is a lack of price history in this area. You don't really have any price history in this range. A couple things. People try to draw comparisons to what we did in this previous range, where we did have a breakdown and then a very quick recapture. So we swept below and we recaptured it here, but we had price history in this range. And here you don't have price history, so it's a little bit different. And it makes it more likely that one way or another, the price is going to tag the prior range high. And then what you're doing now is you're dropping to lower time frames, and you're looking at the structure, the texture of the consolidation. And I've been following here on the 4-hour, and you're getting mixed signals, of course, right? Because in the daily chart, beautiful dragonfly, doji, at the lower Bollinger Band, everything you want from candlestick theory, right? A reversal candle at the lower Bollinger Band, even confluence, with the MA200. But as I said, the issue is the lack of confluence, the lack of horizontal structure in this range. So, how do we put this all together? It's a nice candle, but, what does it mean? Does it mean bounce to EMA 8? Are we going to get a bounce into underside 90, 91K range? If that happens, obviously, I think you're looking to fade the move. The price should reject. If it doesn't reject, you definitely have to go long. But if it gets up there, it likely will reject, and the momentum from the major range breakdown, for me, I still think makes it likely to hit that 72 to 74K area. But we're drilling down here on the 4-hour, and there's a couple things to put into play. We have that nice daily candle, but we do have a little bit of a bearish divergence here in the 4-hour with the higher highs in the RSI. RSI is a bounded, or you can say banded, but most people use the term bounded oscillator with the higher highs versus lower highs in the RSI, and that's a continuation divergence. What that means is what's happened is the RSI is getting more overheated while the price is lower, and it's the opposite where you have a hidden bullish divergence, where you're going to get the lower lows in the RSI versus higher lows in price. Essentially, you're consolidating and retaining the gains. Here, you are becoming closer to kind of overbought while it's continuing to be bearish. So you have that hidden divergence. And it's a question of, do you want to jump in and play the chop in the middle of the channel? And what do? Sure, I think you've got kind of a sloppy overhead level here to use around, 86.5, 86.7 in this range. You can play this range. But for me, I think there is comfort in waiting and doing nothing until you either, test these range lows or test this range peak. You can certainly jump in and play here in the middle of the channel. I think it's extremely difficult. You're probably going to get chopped out. And it's one of those times for me when I don't think you really should do anything. And this has kind of been my posture. But the rest of the market is reacting. You have some quote-unquote oversold bounces setting up. And maybe we'll look at some of those charts. We shall see. And feel free to request them. But it's an interesting spot in the market where you're getting mixed signals on the multiple time frames. Of course, high time frame is still strong, weekly and monthly, for sure, but you have a pretty devastating range breakdown on the daily, and that kind of sets things up for me. Ethereum, weak to Bitcoin, continuing to be weak to Bitcoin, and we're looking at another throwback or a bullish retest, a test from above 2100, range. This level needs to hold. It's going to be Goblin Town. If the price cannot hold there. It's a decent setup in terms of a long trade, in that you're at price interaction with the key level, and you can clearly define your risk. Taking along at like 2100, you're not holding below 2K, for example. Price interaction with the key level. And of course, Solana, major range breakdown, loss of 165 needed to hold. Now flexing, weekly MA50 loss. Be careful with it. I know there's a lot of FA fears on the fundamentals, quote unquote fundamentals, about token unlocks and, all that stuff. I don't really pay attention to that. In that, if that's important, I think we'll see the market do something. So if you want to play in another test at like 120, I think it's fine. But, for me, I'd rather see this thing back up above 160, 165 range if I'm looking to take a long, because you are seeing, definitely a weakening of the medium to the longer term trend on that loss of the weekly MA50 threatening to roll over, and that can cascade into lower time frames. So that was a very quick riff through my thoughts on those charts, but I want to hear from you now. I'm gonna check in with the chat room. I want to hear some questions, and I'm trying to do as much free content as I can. People helped me out when I was getting started, and I'm trying to pay that forward. I don't always get it right, but I'm always trying to get it right. I'm always giving you my best. And what I love about these streams is great questions, and so that's what I want to do. I want to try to be available here for you. Take your question. What's up, Indy? As always, good to see you. Peter, what is up? Peter, nice to see you as well. Nakamura, Andrew, Indril, Ginger Monkey, Button Major. Good to see you folks. So listen, the folks who keep coming every time, it's great to have you. And if you miss it, make sure you watch the replay. Leave me a comment, leave me a suggestion. I'll see what I can do for you. But let's check out here with the chat room, and I'll see if I can answer your questions. So what's going on here? Dronell says, Cheds, could you please discuss the next area of interest for Ethereum if we lose support at 2150? So I talked about divergence. You said and divergence. I explained that on Bitcoin. So what's the next level of support? Well, you definitely want to go to a higher time frame. I think it's reasonable to think if we lose 2150, it would, some type of a higher low test right around, 1500, and that would certainly make sense. It would be a very big blow to the trend to lose 2150. You already have quite a bit of weakness on Ethereum, but you have the asymmetry of price testing a key level, asymmetry in that you can be bullish above, bearish below. And that's my philosophy generally is I'm going to wait for price interaction with a key level. If it loses 2150, I think it's reasonable to think it will test the bottom of this range right around 1500. So that'd be my answer there. Andrew says, can't wait for the book. The book is great. I'm super proud of Trading Journal. I hope you folks will all check it out. Nakamura says, T has been strong during the correction. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I don't necessarily watch Celestia Tia that closely, but we'll take a little peek. We'll take a little peek at it and see what we think. Yeah, that's a terrible chart. Ugh. What are we talking about? What do you mean this has been strong? This is terrible. And this is kind of a short setup too. This is a bounce into lost support. I kind of hate this chart. Why are we watching this? This is a terrible chart. This is a short setup. Look at that. Bounce right into lost support right here. This is like a bullish chart to you. And this is a great short setup, honestly, because you're not holding. If it, it can break like 430, 440, you're not holding. But it is right. It is just a downtrend bounce, downtrend that bounce. This is a terrible chart if you want to be bullish. So I kind of disagree with you, Nakamura, respectfully. Let's see. M Gross, what is up, M Gross? Great to see you as always. If we were to lose 72 to 74K. Okay, it's Bitcoin. What would your next target and outlook be? That's a great question. I really haven't thought that much beyond that. Other than obviously, you test the top of the range. If you don't hold, then you're going to be back in the range. And if once you're in the range, you can test the bottom of the range. Other than obviously around, 55, 60K. I mean, that's pretty obvious. I don't know if you mean beyond that, M Gross. I mean, I think that would be pretty straightforward. I don't know that you need me to say, if we don't hold at 72 to 74K, it opens up pretty much all, this entire range of price structure, and the bottom of that range would be 55 to 60K. So, I mean, that's definitely would be on the table if we can't hold here, and that's if we even test it. But beyond that, I'm not so sure, and I'm trying not to think too far out. You certainly have structure in the 40K range, but I don't know that we need to think that way yet. We've just had range breakdown. The price is pausing. It may form a stronger mean reversion. Even though it is an uptrend, it's a bearish momentum locally, a strong local bearish momentum, and the significance of that range break such that I think you're orienting with a bear move here, so that these are all underside tests, and you're looking for a divergence. We have it, and so that's kind of the way I would answer that question. M Gross. Stanley says Checks the legend. I don't mind. Checks is a great cereal. Even I think you meant Ched, but Checks is great. If you can share just one alt that looks better than the rest for the bounce, sure. I mean, let's take a quick peek. Certainly a bit of relative strength. Nice move on H bar. Definitely a nice move. Outside bar, lower high breaks. So that is nice. You are bouncing to the upper Bollinger Band in a corrective channel, though. So you may be looking for caution there, and maybe some type of throwback to the low 20s range. So H bar looks better. People talking about Maker. I'm not quite sold on Maker. I know there's some token burns and all that, but you've got a descending supply trend. I think that must be handled. You don't want to ignore that. You certainly got your overhead at 2,200. BNB back up above 600. XRP held at 2. So this is one you'd be looking at. People calling top on it, fine. You've got well-defined support and a price push back towards those range lows right at the $2 range. I was looking at FTM, a little bit of relative strength today, but I just don't like the chart overall. So I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure about jumping into altcoins here either. I just think the significance of this range break is significant. It is big. The significance. It's imperative, and I think we need to a little bit more clarity on Bitcoin before I think messing around. I do think this is a time to actually just kind of sit in your hands and observe. And there's different styles, different philosophies. You're going to hear all sorts of people buying the dip or selling the rip on Twitter. I'm actually kind of just watching here. There's times to trade. You need to only trade when you have confidence, you have clarity. I don't have it here personally. Right now, I'm still observing the consolidation. I'm still letting everything kind of play out. So that's my thoughts on that. Let's see here. Look for some good questions. Great group so far. Indy, thoughts on when the price breaks out of a range? It seems to be expected for the price to rush to the top or the bottom of the new range after the break. Yeah, but that just has to do with the whole idea of price structure. So, for example, let's say you have a range here, and you have a breakout coming, and you're trying to think like, what's my target, or what's next? Well, normally you could just take a measured move, the height of the range, and extend it up and say that's my target. But the issue might be that on the way down, let's say you had paused and formed like a bear rectangle here, right in the middle that broke down, you can't overlook previous price structure, in between the target. So you always want to be looking left, looking horizontal, recent price structure. And you just have the issue with Bitcoin is just an absence of price structure. It's talked about many times where if you kind of move up and consolidate, if you drop down, you've got levels to test, right? But if you just kind of shoot up, you're going to slow bleed, all the way down and probably round trip the entire move. So it really has to do with, is there prior price structure? Because these levels are reflective of market participants who are buying and selling. If they bought here and they're getting back to their entry, they're going to sell. Or if it's one of those things where you need price structure because the market is sticky. It's going to be sticky to prior structure, especially local or recent price action. Huge respect. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Appreciate you. I'm just having fun here. I really have fun with these streams. I'm trying to add value. Like I said, there's times when I have clarity. There's other times where there's a mixed picture. I'm kind of in that mixed picture right now. And he says, Goldman Town, when Melker plus Cheds? We'll see. Probably soon, honestly. I've got my new book coming out, so I'm probably going to make the rounds again. And I'll ask Scott if he'll bring me on for sure, and anybody else. I have a couple collabs I'm working on. But if you have a favorite streamer or somebody you think it would be that they would enjoy having me on, and their audience would enjoy having me on, let me know and reach out to them because I'm gonna be trying to do this. Matej, Cheds, why are you so bearish all of a sudden? But it's not my choice. I mean, I've told you for months, and Matej, great to see you. I've told you for months, if we lose 90K, it's a big deal. So I'm like, I don't want to be bearish. But I don't have a choice. Like when it's classical charting, this is a really well-formed level. And Matej, when the price tells you to pay attention to a level, you have to. And I was so bullish here when everyone was bearish and we had nice bounces. But that worked until it didn't, and it lost support. And I can't ignore that. I cannot ignore the significance of this break. And I must be disciplined to classical charting, must be disciplined to the trend such that this would be an underside test. So do you think I want to be bearish, Matej? I literally don't even think I have a choice. I don't have a choice, right? Let's see. Good question, though, but I just don't have a choice, man. It's great to see you again. I'm late, but I just arrived. You're going to restart. Yeah, restart, Chocolate. It's good to see you, Chocolate. Nice to see you as always. Hey, Chris, happy Saturday. Thank you. Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Do I think SUI's in a downtrend? Let's take a look at SUI. I mean, it's an uptrend. It's a price above a rising MA200 in the daily. But the issue is you have lost some key support now. And you do have a falling channel here. And you have a representation of lost demand. So you have an underside test there. It is technically an uptrend, but it looks quite threatened, quite weakened. And I would actually view any kind of action here as underside, really three. So $3 range. So technically an uptrend, but it has just lost price structure and it's still in a corrective phase after rolling over, after holding MA50, holding MA50, holding MA50. This is a daily, holding MA50 and rolling underside, right? Underside pullback here, underside. So it's continuing in that manner. Okay. All right, what do I think about, what's up, Andre? Andre, what's up, brother? Good to see you. What do I think about Curve? I haven't looked at it in a while. It kind of came off the list after it lost major support. What was it, around 75 cents, I think, off the top of my head. You pretty much had to delete it from the watch list. It's been, you're there you go. Yeah, right on 75.80, right? And so BNX has had this, but it's continued, right? We know BNX had a beautiful move out of the range, breaking the peak of a high time frame consolidation. And has held. BNX looks really good. I should have mentioned that earlier when someone asked me about different altcoins. BNX is doing that. You see how BNX essentially is holding here above this level. The issue with Curve, it did not hold at 75 cents and dropping back below that, kind of rendering the entire move as a false breakout. And you really should not be long, or I think even looking to go long in this one. This is a bad chart. I'd probably just play it something else or delete this from the watch list. There's just way better charts, and this is a really bad chart. So I would avoid CRV. What's up, Jake? Has a question, said I just arrived. It's all good? All good. If we start reclaiming the old range, do you think it'll be a long signal? Absolutely, it would be a long signal. Yeah. If you recapture 90K, other people have 91K, 92K. Price zones are not exact. right? It's the whole idea also like with a trend line. There's not actually a line. It's just a trend, right? It's not like, oh, this line is support or resistance. No, it's really a filter around it of price. And the same thing is with a horizontal price zone. I think, but for a recapture, you're going to, again, you have to define your risk somewhere. You have to draw a line in the sand somewhere, right? And if you're going to take a bull thesis on a recaptured 90K, it has to hold 90K, you know, and you can, again, now we're playing with confirmation method. Is it 4 hours a daily candle close? That's up to you. I'd probably use like a 4-hour close. And I think you want to use like a recapture 90K. You want to see it hold like 89.5 or something nearby, giving yourself a little bit of wiggle room. You could use 92K. You can use 91K. There is no actual exact answer on exactly what the price level would be, but for me, it would be 90K. That's a very clean psychological level. I think it would be easier to manage, and absolutely a recapture would be a bull signal. I do think that would be first, though, a short setup, and you should be looking to fade a bounce into the underside if it even gets there, which I'm not so sure yet, right? Because you've got 4-hour bearish divergence, and you've got a really strong momentum overhang on the loss of 90K. And I've been discussing that all the week here on Twitter, on YouTube, and of course, Bitcoin Live. Great group so far, folks. I love all the questions. Really happy that you're spend a little time with me, even on a Saturday. Hope everybody's doing really, really, really well. All right, that's enough. This is a great time, folks. It's a great room. This is part of the quick market update series on my YouTube channel. I'm Cheds Trading. Of course, you know me from Twitter at Big Cheds. I've published 3 books. My 4th book is coming out really soon, The Trading Journal. I am like super amped. I'm really proud. I love publishing books. The next book, by the way, will be a poker and trading crossover book. This should be out within a week or two. I mean, within a week max. And then I need to go record the audio book. So since my 4th book's coming out, I'm making the 3rd book completely free. Watch the Trading Quotes playlist. I didn't mention earlier, you need to watch the Masterclass tutorial if you're risking money. It explains moving averages, exponential moving averages, simple moving averages, how to set up your chart, how to identify trades, how to know when they fail. That's a lot of what I do in the Trading Journal. Check out Trading Wisdom, free version here. Cancer Memoir, check out the free version here. I do these quick market updates Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. They're casual. I don't really go super in-depth with the market, but I do that twice a week at Bitcoin Live, every Wednesday and Sunday night. No matter what, I will not skip a report. I will definitely skip YouTube when I'm traveling. I have vacation coming up, so there's about a 3-week period where I will be doing no YouTube, but I will still be doing Bitcoin Live no matter what. Consider checking that out. But in the meantime, soak up what I do. I try to pretty much do as much free content as possible. Enjoy my YouTube. Find me on Twitter. Send me a message. Let me know how you're doing, how you're feeling. But folks, thank you for hanging out with me on a Saturday. I'm really happy that you folks came. I appreciate your continued support. Make sure you're subscribing and liking and commenting the video and all that great stuff. So folks, thank you so much. Really appreciate each and every one of you. And let's finish off here with the Church of 8 Wheels. My theme song, folks. Thank you so much. Let's do it. Thank you, everybody. Peace out. Be well. Have a great night. Thank you.